With some 27 minutes after 8, you're still watching the AM show. We are live here on the Joynews channel, and our show is proudly brought to you by Mixi Coffee. Well, on my banner this morning, I want to look at fire, because there was one over the weekend at Old Fadama. We're told that the residents of Old Fadama who were affected by Saturday night's fire have already begun rebuilding their homes. But let's visit the story again.
You know something? Make me wait here. If we're taking head going back home, you come. Let us show you.
Let's now connect to the PRO of the Ghana National Fire Service, Billy Anaglate, who's joining us via phone now. Good morning to you, Billy, if you can hear me.
Yeah, good morning, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. First of all, tell us what the cause of this recent fire is, if you know.
Well, that's a very difficult question, because if you look at where we had that fire, the slum area where we had that fire, and then you look at several possible causes to this fire, it will be difficult for anybody for now to just quickly conclude on, despite the fact that there were several information that we have gathered from there. But it will be difficult quickly just to say something on what actually might have caused this fire.
So generally, really, what do we know?
Exactly, like you rightly stated, that we were told that somebody was even using a gas cooker, and then he couldn't control it properly, and that had started the fire. That was the information we gathered. But if you look at those slum areas, severally that people even use various sources of ignition. They use candles, and they have a lot of illegal electrical wires, overage electrical wires, and a whole lot of sources of ignition when they do not even have any safety measures put in place. All those factors, anytime you get in there, you realize that there are several possible factors that could quickly start any fire within those premises. So, you know, it will be difficult for anybody after this time to pick what the people have just told us. We will just ensure that we technically get to know what exactly might have really caused that fire.
So what were your challenges, if there were at all, going in to fight this particular fire?
We have been saying this over and over again. You get to a scene such as that area that we had that fire. Accessibility is one of the biggest challenges that we've been having. It's not only at this area, but many of the places that we have fire situations, we get in there, how to access the place becomes very difficult. Apart from accessibility, we also have the challenge of having water to fight the fire uninterrupted. Hydrants are not readily available. And you also have the people themselves trying to salvage their wells, and then they interfere into our operational duties many a time. So these are some of the major challenges that we always face when we get to some of these fire situations.
And indeed, Billy, these are not new. These things that you're outlining right now are not new. What have you done so far about them?
Well, if it comes to those that I've just mentioned, it does not rest solely on the shoulders of the Ghana National Fire Service.
Yeah, but at least you have some sort of responsibility. You go to fight the fires. So if you're not having access to water, for instance, you should be more worried about it.
Yeah, exactly. The installation of hydrants is the sole responsibility of the water company. That is why severally we'll be having meetings with water company to see what they can do about installation of hydrants for us to always have, uninterrupted water supply. We had several meetings, and we even talked about, if possible, that we might not have the hydrants itself. Even it would be possible, we have boreholes that can be mechanized for us to access. We have been trying to have meetings with other stakeholders that have a role to play if it comes to fire safety and firefighting. And I also want to say that the media also have a very big role to play. We continue to talk about some of these measures and try to educate people, even the very people that even build those structures that, block accessibility in terms of fighting. And I believe that the media should also pick this and be re-echoing it until it becomes part and parcel of the people. But it is only when the unexpected happens and then we talk about it and it dies down. So we have various categories of stakeholders. We have the town and country planning people that should also look at some of those areas, especially the slum areas, the market and other areas that should also ensure that accessibility is created. Roads are created, alleys and gangways are created even in our market. The assemblies also have a role. They control even the market where we normally do not have access when it comes to firefighting. So we have several stakeholders. If I want to enumerate all these, I think we'll spend a lot of time.
Yeah, sure. But Billy, recently you've been quoted as saying that MMDAs should implement recommendations in fire reports to prevent fire outbreaks.
Yes, exactly. Like I'm saying, we as the service, we have also been doing our fire safety, audit in the market. Anytime the safety audit is done, we identify certain safety measures that need to be put in the market. So
okay, so what I really want to ask is what your responsibilities are as you are the Ghana National Fire Service.
First of all, we need to ensure that fires are prevented. That is the first and foremost thing that we look out for. And then that is what we have been doing to educate. You can only educate the people to complement. If you say you want to prevent fires, it is not only the fire service alone that should be having that responsibility.
But I am thinking, as an ordinary person, that if you're still educating people and we're still seeing a lot of fires, then probably the education is not going that well. You're not doing something right, maybe.
Well, probably that might be what you might be thinking, but you agree with me that even in a classroom of 10 people, when you are teaching them, after you finish teaching them, you ask questions. There are some of them might not even remember all that have been taught, and there are some of them I even remember, but who fail in trying to implement it. I'm only saying that it is only, attitudinal, that people, as much as some of them do not want to avail themselves for the education, some also would even sit in the class, but would decide not to listen to it. Those of them who might even understand and take it will definitely fail to implement it. I believe strongly that even if you should monitor people even at where you are working, we have talked about safety measures severally, that each time that people are even leaving their premises, they should use few minutes to look around and deplug all electrical gadgets. But if you monitor few people in your premises, you realize that there are some that will not even heed to some of these measures that we are talking. So it is only when the public, especially if we talk about the market situation, the very people that have their investment are made to understand that they have a very big role to play if it comes to fire prevention in their premises. The fire personnel will not be in people's shops at the time that they are closed to ensure that the fan that they are using is turned off. The electrical gadgets that are not supposed to be on are properly turned off and deployed. We will not be in every shop or store to ensure that these things are done. But it is the very people that work in there, the very people that are using these premises, that should have that responsibility to do it. So when we continue to educate people and they fail to implement it, I don't think the fire service should be blamed for such, situation.
So clearly, Billy, the recommendations have not been implemented. What does it mean that we'll continue to see these fires?
Well, actually, if we are saying that people should not be using the marketplaces as dwelling places, because when they are there, they use candles, they use coils. Those have also been part of some of these fires that we see, and they are still sleeping in there. They are having the drinking bar, the choba that operated in the night. Those are also part of it.
Okay, so Billy, not to catch you, but when you say it, who are you saying it to, really? Who have you said it to?
We have the custodians of the market. You and I know very well that the markets belong to the assembly. They have full control of the market. They have their bylaws. They can enforce those bylaws in the market. The fire service will not walk into the market and begin sacking people. It is not, under the jurisdiction of the fire service to get into the market and just begin sacking people or to say that they should. The custodians of the market that are the assemblies have every right to know where somebody's fell. We also talk about, trying to ensure that even if people should be allowed to cook in the market, they should designate an area for cooking that everybody, either for commercial purposes or for individual use, should have that area where everybody could get in there and cook. Then that place could be monitored. We have also talked about the firemen, having a fire post in the market. Which of our markets here that have been built with a fire post is? None of the markets have been built with a fire post. So we are only requesting for a container in the market that must be supplied, and then we can use it as a fire post. So if the custodians of the market are not able to make available some of these, measures that we are talking of, then we should know who we should be talking to by now. That is what I said. The media also have a very big role to play if it comes to fire safety measures that we need to ensure that everybody understands and to implement.
And if you ask me, we're dedicating so much. We give you so much airtime to do education a lot of the times. So are we just sitting by to say we told you so? I mean, if nothing is done?
Well, I wouldn't say that is what we should be doing. That for the fire service, we will continue getting into the market. But all that I'm also saying is that we have been having a stakeholders meeting with the rest of the stakeholders, and we always try to ensure that they also know the importance of their role in preventing some of these fire outbreaks. Who says that we all do not know that most of these our markets need to be redesigned and reconstructed to prevent and to meet safety standards. We all know all this. So if we are only looking at the fire service alone and leaving other stakeholders off the hook, then I think we will still be having this problem at our doorstep. So we should equally have those other stakeholders to join their forces, to contribute their quota and ensuring that fires are really prevented in our market. You also agree with me today, when you get into the market, you don't need to be a technical person to see that certain electrical wires in the market are illegal, where people are even connecting electricity to the umbrella under which they are selling. Are we all not seeing this? Are the people that are in the market that have the full control of it are not seeing all this? So it's not the fire service that you get in there and before we say that somebody else is not doing it. We are always continuing to bring people's eyes to see those dangers, but there are other people that must physically continue to implement the efforts of the fire service.
Very well said. Billy, let's shift our attention to industrial areas and let's talk specifically about the Spintex area. That's a huge industrial area. We realize you cannot find a fire station there. What have you done?
Are you talking in terms of, Spintex area is what we are talking of?
Yeah, the Spintex road, the Spintex area.
Yes, actually, the fire service has done a lot by trying to earmark a lot of areas in Accra here that we have identified 13 other places where we want to establish a fire station. But it is not an easy thing just identifying an area and just moving on to go and take over somebody's premises that you are establishing a fire station. There are several procedures and processes that you have to pass through. And it's true that the Spintex area itself, we do not have a fire station as of today, but we have identified about 3 places on the Spintex road where we have decided to ensure that if we will be able to get a place there, then we will ensure that a station is there. But that is not to say we have not made any fire cover in there. There is a fire station close to Spintex road. That is the one at the fertilizer area. We have a fire station, a very big fire station at the fertilizer area that have been taken care of the Spintex area for now. So we are only expecting those people we are talking to, people that have the land at the areas that we are talking to, they should really understand and to know that those fire stations that we are trying to establish. Yeah, but Billy,
does it mean that before the Spintex area became an industrial hub, for instance, though we didn't have plans of setting up a fire station there?
The fire service will find it difficult to answer this because I will go back to the town and country planning.
So you take us back a bit. How does it work if a community is coming up? Isn't there any planning? Because we know that there should be a hospital, there should be a market. Shouldn't a fire station be part of the initial planning? What qualifies a community, for instance, to have a fire station?
That is it exactly. Every community, a complete community, should have certain facilities, including the police station, the fire station, probably a clinic. All these things must be included in the planning of a community.
So why are we not seeing them around us today?
That is a very good question that we also keep asking. The only thing that people think of is a police station. Nobody thinks of a fire station. And it is
okay, so where do you come in? Where do you come in? I mean, do you come in when the place is fully set up?
Yes, we are supposed to be consulted when they are planning some of these communities. We are supposed to be consulted. But I believe strongly if we are consulted, I don't see how fire station could be left out when we are consulted. So this will tell you that definitely the fire service is not consulted. You get into some of these new development areas where people have estate buildings and other things. Yet they only think of a police station, not a fire station.
But don't you have the power, for instance, to step in and say, hey, stop there for a minute. This should be part of it. This should be part of your plan, and you need a fire station, so make room for one.
Very good. It is we get in there. There are times that we get in there to do our inspection, and we insist and recommend that they should ensure that fire stations are made part of the premises. But you also agree, like I was talking about the market situations, for instance, and when we continue even saying that containers should be provided and they are not providing the containers, I don't think we have the power to go and arrest anybody from the assemblies that why have you failed to do that. The same thing in the communities when people fail. Everything must go by law. The fire service is limited when it comes to enforcement of some of these measures. We have a limit when you get there. Then you can't even cross. That is why we are saying that every individual should identify the importance of the fire service. Those that are even living within those areas will also be talking for themselves by ensuring that their lives are at stake. Their property is also at stake when they do not have any fire station close to them. So if we are living all these, there is a fire service that should ensure that these things are done and is not being provided. Meanwhile, you are living there. Then I don't think the fire service should be blamed. We continue to do it. Why cannot the public themselves that should be the recipient of all these facilities should also join the crusade and be saying that, hey, where we are living, we have an association, in some of these communities to also ensure whoever is responsible of the area to provide some of those things. It is just like a thing that we replicate in our premises, that in our own home, that we have barricaded our doors and windows for safety purpose, for security purposes, but have never gotten a single extinguisher in our home, thinking as if it will not happen or it is not important. It is just the same thing that has got to the bigger aspect of it. So individually, we should see the importance of safety and to ensure that even in our home, we begin to implement some of those measures and to push it out. When these new communities are there, and then we are to travel from one community to the other in terms of firefighting, we are going to cover certain distances. We are going to meet a whole lot of odds on our way. The recalcitrant drivers are there. We will not get there in the time that would help anybody. So when we have the station within the communities, proximity will allow us to do exactly what is expected of us within the golden hour that the unexpected happens and the time that we will get in there. So my situation at this time is to appeal to the public, also to ensure that having fire station close to them is very necessary and important. They should also join the crusade to ensure that where we are living, what can we do collectively to force whoever is responsible to assist the fire service to have a place, so that in case of anything, proximity will determine that will be there in terms to protect their property and their lives.
Billy, recently people are also setting up filling fuel stations in residential areas. Is it one of your concerns?
Yes, exactly.
So why then do you sit back? I mean, when they start the structures, we all see. Why then do you sit back and wait for them to finish a complete fuel station in the residential area, and then you just sit back and watch?
Well, unfortunately, it is those that you are seeing that you talk of. Those that we are stopping do not come into the public domain. It is not all that you know of.
Okay, so which ones have you stopped then?
Well, I do not have the records with me here to tell you that this one has been stopped, that the other one has also been stopped. But I know there are lots of those gas filling stations that have prevented them from operating because of some of those dangers that they pose. The situation is also different. When the technical committee of town country planning, the zoning status is what we all work with. There is a zoning status when you have a mixed zoning of an area, which means you can have an industry and you can have a residence mix-up. That is the understanding of it. So if you have a zoning status of it, and then a gas filling station and other residential areas are there, it becomes very difficult for the fire service to stop even some of those ones since the zoning status have allowed it. But some of the gas filling stations you see now have been in the outskirts of the community, but the communities have developed to catch up with those gas filling stations. That is some of the problems that we are having at hand. That some of the people themselves have also seen the danger, but they have built so close to it. Not that those communities are there, those buildings are there before some of these gas filling stations have been, installed there. But some of them, yes, but most of those ones have been at the outskirts, and yet the community has developed and has catch up with some of those ones. It is a situation we are all looking at. We are doing everything possible to see what could be done about some of those ones might pose a threat and a danger to people that live within those communities.
All right. Billy, finally, let's go back to Old Fadama. When would we know for sure exactly what happened?
Well, I will not be able to give a time frame immediately, but I know it will not be too long. The situation, as at even yesterday, the people themselves, when it comes to situation of this, we also rely in some of those people who were there before the fire occurred. We expect that they should try to tell us exactly what actually happened. Then we can narrow down to the origin of the fire. Then we will be able to examine some of this. So we are in line with them. We are talking to them. We are doing everything possible that it will not take too much time. Then we will get to what exactly that might come. So if you just keep in touch, I will be able to tell you what exactly might have caused this fire. All right, Prince. Until then, thank you so much for talking to us. Prince Billy Anaglate is the PRO of the Ghana National Fire Service. Well, some of the residents at Old Fadama have been speaking to Joynews, and they say they are trying so hard to rebuild everything that they've lost there.
First at 9:30 coming, but it has started small, but the time we realize it has get over the place. We try our best. We collect ice water, pure water, and our shower water to try to quench the fire. We couldn't, and we called the fire service to come and quench the fire. But where the fire service passed, it couldn't reach our area, so the fire continued burning. Before we call another car, the second car came and quenched the rest of the fire. But still, the fire continued burning to Brazil area.
What have you lost? What are the things that you lost? Me,
my kiosk has burned. All my properties has burned. So right now, it has left only my singlet and my truck.
And what else? What else? Do you know other people who lost something?
Yes, plenty of people properties has been burned.
What do you think was the cause of this fire?
There's something. Many people are using gas cooker, cooking items. So gas cooker too can cause the fire burning. And this area, plenty of people are smoking. Cigarette too can cause it. And power too. And this area, we have illegal connection. Where two cables can power to power can scratch light. So that one too can cause the fire burning.
So do you know what caused the fire? Do you know?
Me actually, I can't determine what actually caused the fire.
What's your name?
My name is Mr. Smiler.
You get another person.
Tayo sabela damona, ntunula tumanama. So sa te nyela kunti kama gwamnati, o songo te kama la banjarama kama cheko polo. So bien, muntumanya konyo daba kazu, la nye shabtuma chongo. So kubia muntuma kunya konyo daba kazu, zuma kunya shabtuma chongo ka bien.
Well, so that's it for my banner, and we wish the people at Old Fadama well. We're with you in prayers, and thank you for your time on my banner. And Roland joins me right now.
Now, particularly when the causative factors of these fires have always been known and nothing is done about it.
Yeah,
I think that's a difficulty. Two, there's a responsibility that the city authorities, not only the National Fire Service, also have to the people there, because the structures they build there indiscriminately, just because they are prone to also fires, it's something also needs to be checked by the people, because when scores of people one day, we may never know, get to perish, or an incident gets fatal following these very fires, who will be blamed? So these are the difficulties I believe that a lot more of the authorities need to think about.
Yeah, I tell you what, you know, after the conversation with Billy Anaglate, I realized that we have to bring the city authorities in studio, you know, to ask them a lot of questions. They need to give us.
They'll give you sweet talk.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, so that'll be it for the morning. Thanks for joining us, all of you. Those text messages you've been conveying to us on those platforms, we always have available for you. We say thank you very much, and thanks for watching us. My name is Roland Walker.
And my name is Mama Vio Swabwaja. God willing, we'll see you here tomorrow. Ketsi Mixed Coffee will come your way again with another edition of the AM show. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.